So I'm assuming that you have finally made the lovely, awesome decision of going ahead and using our platform, SaleGen, to start sending out cold emails to acquire customers, clients, all of that nice stuff. Just one thing before we actually do that, we need to set up like the infrastructure which we're going to be using to actually send out the emails so that you get more open rates, you get more replies, you get more customers, clients, all that nice stuff. It's a pretty simple and straightforward process, and this is exactly how you do it. Please see, I'm assuming, like you watching this video, I'm assuming you already own a domain, you already have a domain purchase before doing this. And in case you don't have a domain, I'll highly suggest you to invest $10 in a domain. It's absolutely worth it. If you don't have a .com domain, you have like a .in, you have a .co.uk or .xyz, .store, .site. Like if you have any other domain apart from a .com domain, once again, I'll highly suggest you to invest in a .com domain. It's going to be just $10. I won't ask you to like create multiple email accounts or something and buy Google Workspace memberships. But this $10 is going to be absolutely worth it. So if you don't have a domain, please invest in one. Till the time, you can actually use SaleGen to send emails without a domain as well. But I'll always suggest you to use it because you get better results and the ROI on the same is going to be absolutely worth it. So if you don't have a domain, please follow the instructions in this post which I have just attached over here. This will show you how you can start sending out emails without domain attached. Yeah, once you've done that, so now all the people who are watching till this point, I'm assuming you have a .com domain which you own and you can control that. The first thing you need to do is obviously log into your SaleGen account, and I'm already logged in. So this is what your dashboard is probably going to look like. After that, you click on settings and you then go to email services. So over here at the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see settings. Click on this, and after that, you can click on email services over here. Simply come here. Boom. Let it load out. Once again, settings at the bottom left corner of the screen and then email services. Yup. Once you've done that, you need to click on dedicated domain and select add domain. So over here, you won't see this by the way, like this is only in my account because I'm using Amazon as well to send emails, but it's more complicated and Amazon does not provide you better deliverability. So I tried it, but you'll probably just see this thing, lead connector email system. And over here, you can see this button which says dedicated domain and IP. Just click on this button. Once you're here, you simply click on this add domain button, this blue one, and it's pretty simple and straightforward from this point onwards. Once you've done that, you need to enter a subdomain of your domain over here. So over here, you can either connect like your domain. So either you can connect SaleGen.com as a whole, as a domain to send emails from. But what we actually want to do is connect a subdomain. In case like that's what we recommend because it's better that we use a subdomain. It's better overall. I'll briefly explain what's a subdomain and why you should use it and how you can go ahead and get better results using it. A subdomain is basically a combination of letters followed by a dot before your domain. So as you can see over here as well, like community.salegen.com, it's not a domain. The actual domain which I own is salegen.com. So before salegen.com, we have this dot and we have this word, like this combination of words, which is spelled out as community, but community is just like a combination of different letters. So a subdomain is basically a combination of letters like the word community followed by a dot which is added before the actual name of the domain which you bought. So I bought salegen.com domain and I can use a subdomain called community.salegen.com. So the combination of words, letters over here, community, and this dot before the actual domain which I have, this is what constitutes a subdomain. So this is the perfect example of a subdomain. For example, I own this domain, and if I try to use Leadwave, which is another software, again, you can see SaleGen.com is the domain I own and control. But before that, we've added a dot and we've added this word Leadwave, which is again a combination of letters. So this Leadwave thing, it's again a subdomain. You can by the way like add unlimited subdomains before a domain. For example, Mailmax is another subdomain. I own the domain SaleGen.com, and I just added this word mailmarks, and which is just again a combination of letters. And after that, I just added like a full stop. This is again a subdomain. So I think I've given you plenty of examples of what a subdomain is. It's just a combination of letters, such as the word community over here, followed by a full stop before the actual name of the domain. There's full stop, and before the full stop, there's a combination of letters. That is basically a subdomain. And now you might be wondering, Somil, I can just add like simply my domain, like salegen.com or whatever your domain is over here. You can add that and you can use that to send emails as well. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. But the reason I would suggest you to add a subdomain instead of your actual domain is like so that like let's say you start sending out like very bad quality emails and you end up in the spam, or the email addresses you're sending out to they're not verified, and like your lead quality is absolutely terrible, the emails they're simply bouncing and it's just not providing you good results. If you're using your entire domain, like if you connect a domain instead of a subdomain to send out these emails, the entire reputation of the domain will be burnt and it will go to waste, and now you cannot use the domain because the reputation is ruined. So if we use a subdomain, let's say mail.domain.com, like let's say I use the subdomain community.salegen.com or mail.salegen.com, the deliverability of only the subdomain will be affected. And let's say I'm getting like terrible open rates and everything, I can just simply use another subdomain because I can create unlimited subdomains per domain. So this just protects your domain and ensures that your domain's reputation is not ruined. And yeah, again, you can create unlimited subdomains per domain. So this just keeps your domain safe, not safe. So yeah, just a quick example. Let's say you're the owner of Apple and you own the domain apple.com. Over here, you should not enter apple.com. You should enter a subdomain of Apple. For example, you can enter a.apple.com. So just enter your domain name, whatever the name of the domain you own. Before that, just enter a full stop, and before the full stop, just enter a random combination of letters. If you want to add like a subdomain, you can do a.apple.com, you can do mail.apple.com, you can do b.apple.com. It really does not matter. Just the name of the domain you own, like add a full stop before it and add a combination of one letter or like a multiple letters before the same to add a subdomain. You can replace like the letter, the A letter over here, with any letter. It really does not matter. For example, you can use this as well. As a rule of thumb, what I like to do is just use the first letter of the domain you're sending from as a subdomain. So it just looks cleaner. So like let's say I own the domain banana.com. I'll go back, I'll enter the name of the domain, I'll add a full stop, and before a full stop, I'll just add like one single letter called B. This just looks much cleaner. So whatever, like if you're unable to figure out what to do, it really does not matter what letters you add over here. Just ensure it's not sounding something spammy like scammer69, something like that. If you have a domain called kanana.com, just enter the word C. It's a rule of thumb, just so that you don't have to think a lot. So yeah, just enter the first letter of the domain you're sending from as the subdomain. So if my subdomain is like my domain is SaleGen.com, I'll just simply copy this and I'll just paste my domain over here. I'll enter a full stop before the domain. I'll come here, I'll enter a full stop, and before this I'll just add S, which is like the first letter of my domain. The thing is I've already added this, so I cannot do it again. So I'll just try to add like a random thing, maybe X or C. Yeah, like you can add like anything. It does not matter, like really, to be honest. So just enter anything, a letter or a combination of letters. Doesn't really matter a lot what specific subdomain you add. Yeah, once you've done, you can just click on add and verify. Just click on this. Boom. Over here, you'll come here and then you can just simply click on continue over here. Once you've done that, you need to click on add and verify, which you've done. And now you need to add the records on your screen as shown in your domain provider. So now you'll be shown a couple of records which you need to add to your domain provider. Now, what can happen over here if your domain provider allows, like if like I use personally Hostinger, but let's say I was using GoDaddy or like I think Cloudflare also has it. If I was using like Cloudflare or GoDaddy, you can find a button over here which says authorize, which basically like you'll see a button something like authorize. I've seen it with people who use GoDaddy and Cloudflare, where we can basically give SaleGen access to your domain providing software and it will automatically set up the records for you. So what will happen is if you see the button, like if you don't see it, that means your domain provider does not support it. But some domain providers allow us to log into your domain provider and add the records automatically. So if you want to like do everything from the click of a button and you don't want to do any work manually and your domain provider permits it, there will be something called authorize with GoDaddy, something like that. And you can just click on the button and log in via your email and your password, grant us access, and after that, we'll add the records on your behalf. If you don't have access to that, or if you're unable to figure it out, that's what you need to do. Now you need to go and you need to change the DNS records. Like these are basically some records which in the domain providing, like in the domain terms, technical terms, we call them DNS records. And you just have to copy paste these values in your domain provider. So I won't like get you very complicated. In case you're wondering how you can change the DNS records in popular domain providers, I have added like help docs of all of them. So let's say if you're using GoDaddy, this is how you can like add DNS records, manage everything. If you're using like Google Domain, like I've just added all of them. So what I'll do is actually just log into my domain provider. This will be different for all of you depending on the place where you purchase it from. For example, I'm using Hostinger. So you just have to enter the place where you can change and update the DNS records of the domain provider. And I know this looks kind of complicated, but it's as easy and simple as literally copying pasting some values. So yeah, over here you can just simply like just go to the help doc of your domain provider if it's there. If it's not there, like contact the help support whatever and tell them I want to make changes to the DNS records and the DNS name server, something like that, and they'll share how they can do it. So yeah, now all we need to do once we're at the place where we can actually edit and change all the different DNS records and everything, we just firstly have to see what is the type of record. So over here it says txt. So what I'll do is I'll come here and in the type I'll select txt from the drop down menu. The user interface might be different for different domains, but the process is going to be exactly the same. After that, we simply click on these two things like this copy button over here next to host, and we simply copy it where it says the name. Boom. Pretty simple, very simple. After that, where it says required value, we again click on this button where it says copy. We copy it and we paste it in the txt value. After that, we click on add record. Boom. DNS record created successfully. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Just see what is said over here and just copy paste the exact values. The second record is also of the txt type. So just come over here, txt over here in the name, we copy the value. So yeah, over here it says C. So we copy it, we remove everything which is there, we paste it, and in the txt value, we again copy this exactly as it is over here. Boom, paste and click on add record over here. The second record has been added as well. The third type of record is something called CNAME. Again, we just simply copy the exact value. These values will be different for all of you. So please copy the things which are on your screen and not what I'm copying. So I'll select CNAME from the drop down menu where it says type, and in the name, I'll just paste the value over here under host, and the required value, I'll paste this under target. Boom, I'll click on add record. After that, the next type of record is MX, and I'll actually just go over here and select MX from the type of record. Over here, it says MX. I'll just copy this value. Boom, delete everything which is already there. Paste the value. After that, copy this value and paste it over here under mail server. Again, add record. After that, again, we click on the value over here. The type of record is again MX, which is the same. So I'll just select MX, delete everything which is over here, paste the exact value, and over there, copy this and paste it over here. Boom. Done. And now we click on add record. Once you've done all of this, we can simply click on verify records once you've added all the records. Now it will load, it will verify if we added all the records or not. Now you might see this txt value which says demarc, it was not it was not shown in the initial stage that we have to add it or something, but you should definitely add it because this just like helps you a lot. I'll actually ask ChatGPT to explain it to you in very simple terms. Explain demarc to someone who doesn't stand it in the simplest language. Yeah. So DMARC is basically, you can say, like a stamp on your emails, which tells the email service providers, like let's say you're sending a email from your computer to a potential prospect in cold emails and he uses like Google or something like Outlook or something. Now the DMARC signature tells the Google people that this email actually came from us, and this just protects your email. Because what a lot of spammers, a lot of these companies actually use your domains to send out emails. So this just helps you with deliverability. So you just come over here, you copy, you add one more record before we verify it. This is like optional, but I'll always suggest you to do it. It takes like 10 seconds. Like again, click on here and select txt record because over here it says the record type is txt. After that, you simply copy the value over here, right click on copy, and you paste it over here in name. Delete the thing which was already there. Boom. After that, we copy the value to be entered as well. Copy. Boom. Txt value. Boom. Add record. That's all we had to do. And after that, at the bottom right corner of the screen, you can see verify domain. I think we should be done now. Yep, done. So again, if you see something like this, like verify now button, just click on verify now. It might take a couple of minutes or hours to do this. Boom, it has been verified. Click on verify domain again. Yep, should be done now. Yes, so it says SSL issued, everything has now been taken care of. Again, one thing is you might be like, Somil, I've added all the correct records and everything, but at the same time, my domain has not been verified. It totally depends on how fast your domain provider updates its records. So let's say I add these records into the system into Hostinger, but Hostinger only updates the records which you add every 30 minutes. You might have to wait for 30 minutes. So give it like 1 to 2 days if you added the domain and it's still not visible. If you don't see the domain added after 24 to 48 hours, try again. And if you still don't see it, then maybe you can contact support of your domain provider and maybe contact us as well. Yeah, it might take up to 24 to 48 hours. Most of them get done quickly. So once you've done that, you once again come back to email services in settings and again click on the dedicated domain and IP. So again, over here, you can simply just go back, come over to settings and click on email services again once more. Just letting it load. Yep. Once you're here, you again click on dedicated domain and IP, and this time you should see the subdomain which you've added and connected. Again, click on dedicated domain and IP, and now we just need to adjust some finishing and final touches. You can see 3 dots at the top of the domain you just added. Here, you see these 3 dots over here. Just simply click on this, and after that, you see this button known as set headers. Simply just click on this. Over here, you enter the from name. When you receive an email, your Google, Gmail inbox, it does show, right? Who's the person sending this? It shows the from name, and it also shows the from email. So here, you just set the from name, the name from which the emails are going to be sent out, and the from email from which the emails are going to be sent out. So I'll just actually use a female name over here because I've just seen female English names have gotten better responses. No, actually I'll just use mine. I don't want to play those tricks. So you can enter your full name or your first name over here. You can use literally any name. Use a English name if you have let's say a name which is maybe not very acceptable in like Western countries or the places you're trying to target. For example, if I was trying to reach to people in the UAE, I'll use like a Muslim name. If I was trying to reach people in the US, I'll use a name which was a bit more English instead of like a Muslim name. If I was trying to reach to people in places like India or something, I'll use like an Indian name. If I was trying to reach people in like let's say like a Southeast Asian country, I'll use like a Chinese sounding name, something like that. Not to be racist, but people like to engage with people who are similar to them in terms of ethnicity. So you can use like any name. Just make sure you're changing it. And from email is the email from which you like it shows like it has been sent from this email. So I'll just keep it as the name, the first name of the name you entered above @ yourdomain.com. So here you don't have to enter the subdomain. You can just simply enter your domain. So yeah, I'll just enter like the like let's say if I added Sommeliada, my full name, I'll just enter like the first name, paste it over here, @ the domain which I own. Not the subdomain. I'll always suggest you to add the domain which you own. And yeah, it should be now taken care of. And boom, you can just click on save. And that is pretty much it. You're sorted. So now you can send like thousands of emails from this name and email without going to the spam, getting pretty good deliverability, around 40 to 80%. So yeah, that's the thing. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, any queries, just simply create a post over here. Like just reply to this via a comment or create a post in the SaleGen community, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Don't forget to tag me though. Bye bye, man. Take care.